In fact, it's important that he does respond, but he's immediately throwing heavy shots right back, because that's an important part of this battle. That's an important part of the story that's being told by these two men. Tap around the guard, tap through the guard, and then stab to the body with the jab. And then it can set up more combos. And so the creativity is crucial, because stories have patterns and patterns tell stories. In order to look at the story of these two men, this great dynamic of these two great fighters clashing over 24 rounds, we're going to look at several moments from some good rounds for both. Click the top link in the description or pinned comment to get behind the analysis content and watch along with me as I put together the science for this particular fight. Speaking of, let's talk science. So when a monstrous hunter meets the smoothest sniper, something has to give. BETERBIEV, the hunter, wants to close the range and overwhelm BIVOL. That's what he's trying to do right now, and he's level changing. He likes that entry. BIVOL wants to keep the range and piece up BETERBIEV. And how can BIVOL keep the range? One, disruption, right? And so he sees him level changing like that. He sees him, closes the distance, and boom, there's a jab. So he's already disrupting him, and it throws off the overhand, and so that's already one diversion to keep BETERBIEV at bay. In order for the hunter to close the distance on the sniper, he has to get creative. BIVOL likes circling to the right in both fights, and so one of BETERBIEV's primary punches is going to be that right overhand or a right hook to try and cut off the trajectory of his lateral movement. For a sniper like BIVOL, in order to escape danger, he has to know how to laterally move, not just go straight back, because that'll get you in a position like that in a corner. He has to know how to go left and right horizontally to get out of the way of BETERBIEV marching forward and leaping forward. One of the more interesting things about BETERBIEV is he has several body language tells when he wants to really get active on offense. You'll see him get really jittery with his lead hand, really jittery with his feet, and he'll start kind of hopping in the close distance. Those are kind of like three of the primary things that serve as a tell for when he wants to throw some power punches. You'll see that lead hand, and then the rear hand will eventually follow. He'll pump out the lead hand a few times. Now for BIVOL, this is one of the things we emphasized in the pre-fight breakdown. One of the primary things he would have to do, not just move laterally like how we identified earlier, but pair that with combos to cut BETERBIEV off as he's following him. So BETERBIEV is following him, he's a step behind, so BIVOL can stop, plant, and unload combos and catch BETERBIEV off guard. Again, we see BETERBIEV start pumping out that lead hand, and he's doing that to get a pin on BIVOL, to see where he's going, to see where he's at, so he can measure for the right hand. And he blasts through the guard right there, but BIVOL does lower his chin, so that kind of lands on the forehead. But that lead hand is BETERBIEV's like primary tool for hunting down the elusive BIVOL. Subsequently, in order to disrupt BETERBIEV, he has to deal with that lead hand. He tries to counter over top with the right hand right there, and then he does a counter combo, which is also very important as far as his game plan goes, not just countering with single shots, but also finishing with combos. And he lands the left hook at the end there, but it was a counter to the step in jab, which is a shot he needs to shut down. Now we know that this is very intentional from BIVOL, because it's a consistent pattern. He sees BETERBIEV throwing that jab, boom, counters it, and he's either pulling out of the way, slipping out of the way, or parrying or blocking with the right hand, but he's defending the lead hand of BETERBIEV and countering. And here's another quick example. BETERBIEV is going to try and establish it, parry, and answer back immediately with his own jab. Being a smooth boxer means you're really damn good, but it does not mean you're perfect. Again, we talk about how BIVOL keeps circling to the right, and BETERBIEV, he's squared up, so that right hand is perfectly aligned, and he lands over top on BIVOL. For this last part of the second round, BETERBIEV's body language, you can see he's getting real jittery, body moving, lead hand moving a lot, pumping, closing the distance, a lot of foot movement, but you see BIVOL stepping back, and he's jabbing over top of the jab. And so he knows he has to disrupt BETERBIEV when he starts getting active like that, and he's backing up, but then he gets his back against the ropes, and BETERBIEV is emboldened. He wants to still come forward. And this is the advantage of being a smooth operator, someone that can box off the back foot and box moving laterally. He catches BETERBIEV coming in right there. And so BETERBIEV is chasing after him. But again, when he's controlling the lateral movement, BETERBIEV's following him. So he's always a step ahead, and he can catch him coming in. You see BETERBIEV getting fidgety. You see that lead hand getting active. And you see him trying to close the distance. And he's using that lead hand to end him against the ropes. He likes that position. And so he opens up with a right hand that lands on the guard. But notice how BIVOL responds. In fact, it's important that he does respond, but he's immediately throwing heavy shots right back, because that's an important part of this battle. That's an important part of the story that's being told by these two men. You have to answer this type of fighter back. BETERBIEV is rarely deterred, and so he can steamroll his other opponents, but BIVOL rarely lets shots go unanswered. Even if the shots aren't landing, not all of that landed, obviously. They're slowing BETERBIEV down. They're making him think twice. And at the very least, you need to do that if you want to beat BETERBIEV. Now for BETERBIEV, some creativity mixed with his aggression, even if it's something simple like using the lead hand to get the guard kind of frozen around the center so he can go around the side with the right hook. And then that opens up opportunity because he pushes him up against the ropes. And now he's using the lead hand to measure some more and try and open up, and he smells blood. Creativity to set up more than just a jab and a straight right hand is very important for him to win rounds. And BETERBIEV is getting aggressive. He just had him against the ropes. BIVOL bounces off the ropes. Now at this point, based on the story so far, do you think BIVOL should keep moving, or do you think he should answer back? Well, BIVOL knows the answer. He knows it's not good enough to keep moving. He knows that he has to open up and try and punish BETERBIEV for giving him the work that he just gave him. And even if stuff is not landing, and even if he's putting himself in danger, like what he's doing right now, they're about to get into an exchange, and BIVOL is very slick with the footwork, so he's moving backwards, and while he's moving backwards, he throws that right hand that partially lands. It doesn't land super clean. He takes a shot forward, but then he lands a left hook, and he eats a left hook. Now he has to get into these types of exchanges. If he wants to deter BETERBIEV, he's going to have to fight him off at times. In order to box, he has to fight him off enough in order to open up those opportunities. We talk about the necessary creativity of BETERBIEV. Here we're going to see him do more than just a jab. He kind of shifts that shoulder down a little bit, throws that lead uppercut, and he steps into it, but then he does a secondary step in to land the right hand. Right, so it's different variations in footwork, different variations in the punch selection, and in order to close the distance, because it's not just enough to just pump out that lead hand, because BIVOL has adapted to that. BETERBIEV has to adapt as well. The rounds that BETERBIEV would win would have to look like moments similar to this. BETERBIEV cuts off that exit, closes the distance, level change, body shots, pins him against the rope, opens up with combos. And not all of that is landing clean, obviously, but those are good moments for him. Again, BETERBIEV finding success in this 5th round by being creative. Tap around the guard, tap through the guard, and then stab to the body with the jab. And then it can set up more combos. And so the creativity is crucial, because when you're facing a high-level sniper or just a general high IQ fighter like BIVOL, predictability is one of the least desirable traits. And so the ability to manifest new varieties of offense and feints and setups is truly a necessity for a 24-round war, which this was. But then BIVOL will win certain moments, especially moments where BETERBIEV just doesn't answer back with his jab. He lets BIVOL win the jab battle. BIVOL jabs, BETERBIEV eats it, he backs up, resets. And the same thing is going to happen. BIVOL is going to jab, and he counters BETERBIEV's jab. And even though it's not landing super clean, it causes BETERBIEV to back up and reset. And at that point, you're fighting at sniper's range at a sniper's pace. And that's when BIVOL is going to take over. It's really important for BETERBIEV not to allow BIVOL to move just anywhere he wants to. There should be constant punishments for wanting to escape and wanting to move to the left and to the right. And he does a good job right here of popping out a stiff, quick jab, not too much telegraphing, and just disrupting him, stopping him from doing what he wants to do. And at the heart of this story, you have the sniper's accuracy, precision, and consistency versus the heavy-handed hunter's heavy-ass hands. Now, BETERBIEV doesn't have to land super clean for it to have a massive impact, but BIVOL is also landing super clean. His right hand, boom, landed right on the chin, twisting the neck. But at the same time, when you see him in that position, you see that he gets his head off the center line as well. So it's also a defensive advantage on his part. And you see that affect BETERBIEV's leg a little bit. Perfectly landed shot to the chin. BETERBIEV does a good job right here, using the lead hand to kind of measure where he might be going, and then stepping through to cut off that trajectory, kind of like how he did with the jab earlier, just not allowing him to move willy-nilly free of charge. He's charging him for every movement, though at least that's true of the rounds where he finds the most success. It's not as true in the rounds where he's losing, which is why he's losing those rounds. Now, those were a lot of the crucial patterns that help tell the story of why these two fight the way they do and why the fights turn out the way they do. But yeah, I just wanted to share that with you guys. And there are some other good examples of peak hunter versus peak sniper that we might look at it in the future. But two great fighters, both fighting in two great fights, competitive, a lot going on, but even more to come, fight scientists. And like I said, the behind the analysis is already up for this. If you just sign up on the Patreon for free, you can get access to that particular behind the analysis. Now the other ones, just pay $5 a month for the subscription, and there's going to be hours and hours of extra content. There's already some content out there. I'm out. See y'all later.